So at the end of this class, you will be required to understand some of the issues that are critical in the area of purchasing management. So this class will always be on Wednesday from 4:30 to 5. It will always be on Wednesday from 4:30 to 5. The other thing I'm going to show you is the course outline, what you expect to get at the end of this semester, what at least you must have learned towards the end of this semester. So our first topic is introduction to purchasing. Introduction to purchasing. So here we will be talking about the objectives of supply function, the importance of purchasing and supply function, and ways of organizing the supply function. The other important thing that we'll talk about here is topic 2, which is purchasing and organization, purchasing structure and organization. Here you will be able to understand the purchasing organization structure, the status of the purchasing department, centralization and decentralization, and the new approaches to purchasing. Our next topic will be quality assurance. Under quality assurance, we will be talking about the meaning of quality control and quality assurance. We'll also be able to talk about the aspects in quality assurance, the aspects in quality assurance. We shall also cover the roles of the Kenya Bureau of Standards in quality assurance. So what is the role of KEBS in quality assurance? We shall also talk about the techniques of quality assurance, some of the techniques that are critical when you're doing quality assurance. We shall also briefly talk about the types of quality standards, the types of quality standards. Our fourth topic will be sourcing. We shall understand the supplier development programs and building and maintaining supplier relationships. We shall also talk about evaluation of suppliers. Our fifth topic will be supply and market behavior. Supply and market behavior. We shall be able to understand some of the market structures that are common in purchasing. We shall also talk about the various pricing strategies that are used in purchasing. Our next topic will be purchase and contracts. We shall be able to understand the meaning of contracts, the essentials of a valid contract, and the activities involved in contract formation. We shall also cover the types of contracts and the rights, obligations, and responsibility of parties to a contract. Lastly, under that, we shall talk about the methods of controlling execution of a contract. Topic 7 will be support tools for supply and purchasing decisions. Here we shall talk about the tendering process, which is very critical. We shall also talk about the forecasting techniques and investment and appraisal techniques. We shall also talk about the costing techniques and the models and simulations. Our next topic will be negotiation. We shall be able to understand the meaning of negotiation, the importance of negotiation, and the phases or stages of negotiation. We shall also be able to talk about the negotiation styles and strategies and tactics that can be used in negotiation. We shall also talk about the composition of the negotiation team and some of the qualities of a good negotiator when it comes to negotiation. Our next topic will be ethics and integrity in purchasing. Remember, ethics is a very critical area in purchasing. Therefore, we shall be able to talk about the meaning of integrity and ethics, shall talk about the importance of ethics, and we shall also cover the role of the Kenya Institute of Supply Chain Management and the Code of Ethics. We shall also talk about the role of the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission or the Integrity Commission. We shall also talk about the Public Officers Code of Ethics and causes of unethical practices in any organization. Then the other important thing is the do's and don'ts of an officer in public procurement. And lastly is the emerging issues and trends in purchasing management. purchasing management. As we all know, our Zoom class will always be on Wednesday from 4:30 to 5, from 4:30 to 5. Then the other thing we shall talk about is introduction to purchasing. Purchasing is a very critical area in any organization, and purchasing is the procurement of materials, machines, tools, and equipments, and it also involves various other functions that will create value of materials which are obtained to facilitate standardization and competitiveness in the market when you're buying products within the organization. So purchasing management therefore includes a wide range of activities. That is purchasing planning, we have purchasing tracking, purchasing negotiations and maintaining purchasing process, planning, tracking, and negotiation, and maintaining the process. So planning is all about doing activities prior to those activities happening. Then we also have what is called the objectives of purchasing management. So one of the objectives of purchasing management is to ensure that you purchase the required materials at minimum possible cost, price by following the company's policy. So you'll be able to follow the company policy when you're buying goods or services. It also helps you to develop goods and new supplier relationship. So you'll be able to develop relationship with various suppliers. Training and developing of the purchasing department employees. So continuous training is very critical in the area of purchasing. Therefore, you will be able to have the procurement process at hand. Then you'll also be able to maintain proper and updated records of all transactions. Remember, we have various transactions that are normally done in any organization, and this will help you to be able to maintain an updated record of those transactions. Then participating in development of new materials and products. So you're able to come up with new materials and products within the organization. Then to make economic decisions for purchasing department. So you'll be able to make economic decisions that are critical in the purchasing department. You shall also be able to avoid stockouts and delay situation for an organization. So what are some of the functions of purchasing? Number one is to ensure that the organization has the right quantity and quality of materials, that production is not interrupted. It also helps to ensure you are able to reduce on costs, the cost of production in your organization. It also helps you to deal with suppliers regarding shortages, delays, and rejections. It also helps you to ensure that you're able to code various materials within the organization. Ways of organizing the purchasing department. Purchasing department can be organized in very many ways. Number one, you can organize it as a functional department. Here is where you give various responsibility to various people within the organization. And one of the advantages is that there is operational efficiency when you organize activities in a function approach. Number two is there is a case of easy supervision and control. So you'll be able to supervise very easily. Yes, the other thing is that you will also be able to, there is availability of special personnel in purchasing department. Because different people have different expertise in those areas, it becomes easier for you to be able to do that. The other thing is simplification. Simplification, which is very critical. You'll be able to simplify the procurement process when you organize department as a functional department. There will be high morale and motivation because people will know what they really are supposed to do within the organization. So one of the disadvantages is that purchasing as a functional department, number one, lack of technical knowledge. So those employees will not have the technical knowledge or will not have the technical experience to do various activities. The other thing is, the other disadvantage is that training of managers in these small areas may be difficult. So it becomes difficult for you to train those managers because some managers feel that they are more superior than others. Therefore, they do not require any training. Then it may result in many activities that involve expedition and without adding value. So you might end up having many activities that do not add value in the organization. It may increase interdepartmental conflict among workers. So at the end of the day, you realize that people will be conflicting within the organization, and this might bring issues at the end of the day. So employees identification with a specialist group may make it difficult to implement changes. So sometimes to implement changes might be very difficult because people are rigid to change, and this might affect various activities or various issues within the organization. User department may end up using information procedures as they find purchasing procedures too slow and unsatisfactory. So that process might be very, very slow, and it might affect the whole process of procurement. Then you have various duties there. Those ones you will read. I've been able to come up with various functional officers. The first functional officer is the purchasing officer, and the various duties of a purchasing officer are there. Then we have the second one, who is an assistant purchasing officer, who has also various activities that you will read. The third one is the purchase assistant, and we have the stock controller officer, and we also have the store officer and the storekeeper in the receiving section. So those ones you'll be able to read and be able to understand. Then we have the duties of a storeman and the qualification of a purchase executive. All those are some things that you must read. And those are the activities at one point you interact with when you are working within those departments. The other thing we will talk about today, is our third topic, which is lesson 3. Lesson 3. So lesson 3 is about purchasing. Lesson 3 is about purchasing. So purchasing is one of the core activities in any economy. And all organizations, be it merchandising, manufacturing, or even non-profit organization, always interact with purchasing. So purchasing can be classified into two. We have mercantile purchasing and we have industrial purchasing. Mercantile purchasing is a commercial activity that involves buying of items intended for resale at a profit. Therefore, you are buying items so that you can sell those items and get a profit at the end of the day. Then the second category is industrial purchasing. This involves procurement of items for purposes of consumption or conversion. So here you are buying items so that you can use those items for various issues. And some of those items may include raw materials. Raw materials, we can also have the components, various components. We can have consumables or store supplies. We can have office supplies, and we have office appliances, spare parts, and tools. Then lastly, you have machines and equipment. So purchasing basically is a managerial activity that involves buying of goods or services for purposes of satisfying a certain objective. So according to Westing, he talks about purchasing as a managerial activity that goes beyond the routine activity or the routine act of buying and includes the planning and policy activity that covers a wide range of related complementary activities. So complementary activities are activities that go hand in hand, whereby one activity triggers the other activity. For example, when you talk about complementary goods, these are goods that are bought hand in hand. The demand for one good will lead automatically to to the demand of the other good. Then what are some of the objectives of purchasing department? Number one is to avail the material, supplies, and equipment at minimum possible cost. So you'll be able to get materials, and these materials will be affordable to your organization. Number two, to ensure that the continuous flow of production, Therefore, this means that the materials are always available in the organization whenever they are needed by various user departments. Then we can also talk about another objective to be to increase asset turnover. This is the rate at which assets are converted into money. Therefore, it means when you have good purchasing management in place, the organization will be able to invest in various issues or to invest in assets that are going to bring money to the organization. Only assets that are very critical will be bought in the organization. Then the other one is to develop alternative source of supply, So when you are talking about alternative source of supply, this is whereby you have different suppliers for different items. And this will help you to be able to get an uninterrupted flow of materials in the organization. Because when you have more than two suppliers, it means when one supplier refuses to bring the items to your organization, you'll always find an alternative source of supply. The other thing is to achieve maximum integration with other departments. Remember, purchasing department is not a vacuum. It must interact with other departments. And these departments are named there. We have production department, engineering department, marketing department, and finance department. And lastly is to train and develop personnel. So you'll be able to train and develop people. And by so doing, it will be very critical for you in the organization. Any question? Any question? Any question? Sophie? Sophie?
Yes.
You have a question?
No, I'm trying to digest.
Or you're trying to digest, but you are understanding?
Yes.
Yeah, so next time make sure uingie mapema ndio tusome.
Yeah.
In case you have any issue, you can always call. My number is there.
Yeah.
So this class will be on Wednesdays at 4:30. Then
Zoom,
the one for public procurement is was yesterday. Yesterday at 2:30 to 3.
Okay.
So if there is no question, I'll stop there. Let's meet next time. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yes, but I have a question. Yes. Why are you hiding notes?
I'm not hiding. Like which one?
Cost outline.
To hide cost outline?
Hey.
Sikuelewi. Hebu rudia swali yako.
Nasema. Mbona hapa umesikia swali yangu?
Yasikia, imagine.